Welcome back to Bunnex Investment Group. In this video, we're going to talk about predicting the high or low of day with high precision. Right, I'm going to show you how to predict the high of day or low of day of a valid trading day, not any day, but a valid trading day with high precision. With only 2 steps, you are going to attain a skill that can allow you to call the tops and bottoms of trading days. This can allow you to trade prop firms with consistency that is required to pass challenges as well as to maintain the funded accounts. The M15 timeframe is going to be your friend because it is the timeframe that allows you to micro-view the market. We are not going to use higher timeframes, but only focus on the M15 timeframe for this particular trading strategy, because that is the only trading time frame that can allow you to see what the market makers are doing on the micro stage of the markets. Let's jump in. All right, so basically we are going to talk about the cycle template, the secret consistent points, which is the secret to actually remove subjectivity within this particular cycle template. Then we are going to talk about determination, the high and the low of day. Then last but not least, we are going to have examples for us to fully comprehend everything that I would have said. First topic is cycle template. And by cycle template, we are actually deriving it from the market maker cycle, where we talk of 3 impulses. You can see impulse 1, impulse 2, impulse 3. The basis of determining the high or low of day is going to be derived from something like this. We need to imprint this in our minds so that we'll be able to actually understand where the high, the low, or the high is going to be issued. But there are some other techniques that I'm going to show you shortly. So basically, the high or low of day will come if we have satisfied this particular template. Let's now have chart examples so that we may be able to apply this system. But before we do so, check out our free Telegram channel. I'll leave the link in the description box below. So basically, this is odd against USD on the M15 timeframe. The first thing that I've highlighted on the slides was to determine when we see or if we see impulses that mimic the cycle template that I've shown you. We can see that from this particular lows, we have this first rise, second rise, and then third rise, and we reached this particular point, which was the high of this particular day that started here and ended here. However, doing so may actually prove to be subjective if we try to do it again, or if we ask someone else, they'll be actually telling you that I see this is an impulse, this is an impulse, another impulse, another impulse, and they won't be wrong. So to remove that particular subjectivity, we are going to use these 2 simple EMAs. These simple EMAs are basically 5 EMA, the one in blue, and 13 EMA, the one in red, all applied to close. So in this particular instance, all that we'll be requiring to see is basically see an impulse, like in this particular case, and that impulse should have a corresponding crossover of these 2 EMAs. We can see there is an EMA that is here. If this happens, we say this is a valid impulse to the upside. Then here we can see another crossover of the 513 to the upside, meaning this was a valid impulse. Then we can see another crossover of 513, meaning this was a valid impulse. After 3 impulses, all that we want to see is basically the end of that particular small microstructure, 1, 2, and 3. However, to know or understand that the market is actually completed and has actually set the high of that particular day, we need to see this particular candle closing below this red candle, which is the 13 EMA. So at this particular point, that is where we would actually make an entry. We have determined this particular high of this particular day. So the high is actually this one. Let's now have examples of much more complex points that the market can give us. We can see coming from this particular point, we went to the downside. After going to the downside, we can as well see that we had this crossover of the 513, and then this was a valid impulse to the upside right to this particular point. We want to see the next impulse breaking structure or breaking the high of the previous impulse. So here we can see there was a crossover, but we failed to break the high, a crossover here, and then we broke the high, meaning this was another impulse, valid impulse. After that, we can see another crossover of 513 to the upside, meaning this was another valid impulse. I'm sure by now you now understand that we would have reached the high of day, which is this one. So high of this day that started here and ended here is going to be this one. Entry at candle close below the 13 EMA, right? We start again. We can see another 513 to the downside, which was here, meaning this was a valid impulse to the downside. Another 513, another valid impulse to the downside like that. Then another 513 here, meaning this is a valid impulse to the downside. Candle close above the 13, which is at this particular point, entry, and then the market went our way like that. Basically, that is how you will be doing over and over again. So basically what I have given you is an edge. An edge will only work if you actually perform or repeat it consistently, doing the same things over and over again. This particular strategy will actually allow you to determine the high and low of day 65 to 70% of the time, meaning that the other 25% of the time you are going to be wrong and the market is going to take out your stop loss. In that instances, you are not supposed to have a heavy heart, but to actually keep on doing the same thing over and over again. With that, you'll be able to actually see a return on any investment that you'd have put for this particular trading strategy. You can as well apply it on trading challenges with prop firms, or basically apply it on your personal account. On that note, we've come to the end of our today's video. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.